it would seem that free will and no respect of persons with God are contradicted by the idea of God's chosen people. But there's no denying that the Scriptures clearly speak of certain descendants of Abraham as people of God. We read, "For you are a holy people to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for himself, a special treasure above all the peoples on the face of the earth." Deuteronomy 7 and verse 6. These people were a holy nation. Exodus 19 and verse 6. They were chosen by God. Now, such statements are repeated so often in the Scriptures it seems redundant to offer further proof. However, we should note that the fundamental idea of the Hebrew word that is here translated holy literally means separation, with no moral or ethical connotations to it. These people were physically set apart by divine choice, but moral holiness, as the term later came to be used, is an entirely different matter, one that is not related to ancestry, as we shall see. But for now, we must give careful attention to how the Israelites came to occupy such a favored physical position and why such choosing was made. Now, we cannot properly appraise later connotations for people of God without looking at this brief historic background of this nationality of people. Hebrews 11 verses 8 through 10 tells us that Abraham was a man of faith, but he was not a Jew. Genesis tells us the land of his nativity was Ur of the Chaldees, Genesis 11 verses 26 through 28, and he was classified with the uncircumcision, meaning Gentiles, according to Romans 4 verses 10 through 12. But God made a promise to Abraham, which was later repeated to his descendants, saying, "I will make of you a great nation," Genesis 12 verses 1 and 2. Note the term make you. The King James Version says, "make of thee." Abraham was, so to speak, the breed stock, out of whom God built a special race and nation of people. He was separated from his own country. He and all the males of his household were given the special covenant of circumcision, and his previously barren wife, Sarah, bore him a son of promise when he was 100 years old. Later, that son, Isaac, took a wife from among his father's people, and Jacob, the chosen son of Isaac, took a wife from his mother's people. Both men were warned to take no wives of the Canaanites, nor of other nations where they dwelt, a warning extended throughout the generations yet to come. Now, clearly, this was a breeding process, a building of a special race of people who were to serve God's purpose in a special way. Now, Jacob had 12 sons, and their families were the foundation of the 12 tribes of Israel, a name that was given to Jacob when he wrestled with an angel in Genesis 32, verses 24 through 28. Joseph, a son of Jacob, was sold by his envious brothers and was taken into Egypt, where, through the providence of God, he eventually became a prominent civil official and was able to confront his other brothers when they came into Egypt as a result of a great famine that came upon the land, and they came to Egypt to obtain food. They were persuaded to remain there, and following Joseph's death and a change of government, we're told in Exodus 1 that a new king or a new royal family came to power that did not know Joseph. They did not know the promises that Pharaoh had made that Israel would always have protection by the Egyptians. Well, these new kings pressed the Hebrew people into tremendous slavery, and as time passed by, their treatment became much more brutal, and they began to cry out to God for deliverance. Well, multiple generations of hardship welded them together as a strong, devoted people. They grew to become the Israelites that Moses led through the wilderness to the promised land. Now, friends, as we think about these people known as the Israelites, we're going to see in a future lesson the promise that was made to Abraham and how this was carried out. But what we're going to see is that these Israelites were initially the first group of people who were known as the people of God, a designation that we wear today, those of us who are the children of God, who are Christians. Friends, we want to thank you for joining us for our program today, and we pray that God blesses you with a wonderful day.